What is your take on all this?
Well, I don't put anything past Jerry Jones. I mean, especially when it comes to the commission at this particular moment in time. First of all, it's clear that Jerry Jones, along with a slew of other owners, think that Roger Goodell may have mishandled all of this. Not to mention the fact that they're going to always look to blame somebody for the decline in ratings rather than themselves. And then when you combine that with the whole Ezekiel Elliott fiasco, which Jerry Jones has clearly been on the record believing that Roger Goodell has been a bit excessive and unfair in the process in regards to all of that. Jerry Jones is one shrewd operator. He's a brilliant businessman for a reason. He's established himself as being great at what he does on the business front and the marketing front for a reason. And he's a master at manipulation. Somehow, some way, the Dallas Cowboys always end up stealing headlines, and they always end up in the news for something other than winning football games. They're not winning football games here. This is not the issue. The issue is something else, and that's right up Jerry Jones' alley. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I think it's got his fingerprints written all over it. But here's the other side to all of this. I don't mind. Jerry Jones is a businessman. It's about the bottom line. And if he's convinced Mr. Snyder to speak up and speak out about Papa John's and how it's lagging in profits and what have you, and the numbers aren't what they had projected it would be, and they believe that it has something to do with the protest. I think it's a legitimate beef in terms of what really has impacted things. I don't think they're fabricating it by any stretch of the imagination. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Jerry Jones had influenced one of his business partners to speak up about it, because it's better coming from them at this particular juncture than it is coming from an NFL owner.
Yeah, wow, you're absolutely right. What do you take away from Jerry Jones possibly being behind the Papa John's pushback on the NFL anthem protest? What you should take away from it is a guy that not only owns one business, but two businesses that are affected by these protests is telling you with screaming headlines, multiple explanation points, what it is doing to business. Jerry Jones, by all accounts, is a big stakeholder in Papa John's, one of the most largest franchise owner of Papa John's in the country. So he would know, by the way, if it is affecting Papa John's business.
I think the number's 49%. I think he owns like 49%, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, it's almost like we're treating this like as an investigative story, like, oh, my gosh, well, Jerry Jones has a connection to Papa John, so maybe that's why this is being said. When I look at it and I go, you know what? Jerry Jones knows not only how is it affecting NFL sponsorships on their end of the business, but how it's affecting the sponsors' business on the other end. I mean, I don't know why this is some big gotcha manipulation when it is insight into what's happening with business. And our reaction to this is so fascinating. If we hear that audiences are down, that NFL ratings are down over 20% over the last 2 years, and that NFL's approval rating goes down from 56 to 11%, what do we react? Nah, it's really not about that. It's about other things. If sponsors tell you that it's hurting their business, what do you tell them? That guy, John Schneider, he's a Republican anyway. You know? I was eating another kind of pizza anyway. If NFL owners tell you it's hurting business, you say, that guy, he treats his players like inmates. He doesn't like his players. You keep dismissing all the warning signs. And by the way, it's not even a reflection of what you think of the substance of the protest. I'll give you as an example, Stephen A. You're getting a lot of heat for pointing out it's simply business when I know how you feel about the protest underlying it. But that didn't stop you from seeing, it's clearly hurting business. It's not connected to say, yeah, it's hurting business, and then also say, but there's worthiness to the protest. At some point, you got to go. Clearly, this is hurting business. Did you ever see that movie Clockwork Orange, Stephen A?
No, I have not.
You've seen the scene where they tie the guy down and put toothpicks in his eyes and hold like this.
Got it. Okay.
You're going to see this no matter if you want to or not. Like, that's the reaction to all this. It may be hurting your business. It may be hurting ratings, but it doesn't matter. You're going to see this no matter what.
Well, my response to that is don't compare them to me, because I've been honest and upfront about what I believe.
Oh, I know. That's my point.
I know that, but Jerry Jones hasn't, is my point. The issue with Jerry Jones and these guys is that they haven't been honest. And by the way, he's not the only one. Let me put somebody else on Front Street. How about the name Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning does commercials for Papa John's. Peyton Manning, if I recall correctly, I think owned at the time, back in 2012, I think he had part ownership in about 21 Papa John's stores in the Colorado area. All right. This dude was on the record talking about, hey, you know what, people, obviously the state of Colorado has legalized recreational use of marijuana. that same year. And Peyton Manning invest in Papa John's at that particular moment in time. Why? Because it's been documented apparently that people who can't stay off the weed like to eat pizza after they finish doing something like that.
It's called the munchies, Stephen A., but I wouldn't know.
You can call it whatever you want. The bottom line is this. Peyton Manning playing chess instead of checkers. He capitalized off of it from a business standpoint. We haven't heard from him on these protests because we don't know how his businesses are being affected. You got to think about that. You got to think about Jerry Jones. At the end of the day, when it comes down to a willingness to be open and honest about the business impact of it all. I told you before, Will, and I'll say it again. If Jerry Jones came out and said, look, this ain't about any of that to me. This is about the bottom line. And my dollars are being affected, and your dollars are going to be affected if all of this happened. I'm telling you, people wouldn't be able to say anything to Jerry Jones.
He has said that.
Has he? When did he say that?
He's saying it to the people that matter, his players. By all accounts, he's taken these players behind the scenes and said, this is the issue here.